Can you explain to Americans what is in the national interest when it comes to acting? Why now?
Yeah. So I think if you look at Syria and you see that it borders Israel, that it borders Jordan, that it borders Turkey, that it borders Iraq, that it borders Lebanon, you know where it is, and you see what's happening there. I was just through northern Africa, and the hardened fighters from Tunisia, from Libya, from Algeria, and other places have all migrated, or many of them have migrated, and this is the new jihadist front. And so I think that people clearly can understand that it would be very harming to U.S. national interest to have a country that has chemical weapons there, compounds throughout the country, controlled by extreme elements like Al-Qaeda. So obviously that would be destabilizing to the region, but it would be a huge setback to us as it relates to trying to defeat Al-Qaeda over time, something we know is going to take quite a while. So I do believe it's a second issue that we're concerned about that is of higher national interest than the first was, regarding whether Assad must go.
You said that this action today is symbolic. What does that mean? It's a symbol that the U.S. is willing to change its position and aid the rebels fully?
I don't mean the action we've taken is symbolic. I'm saying the arms, while technically needed, also is symbolic. I mean, I think what you see today is something very different than what's been happening. If you look at our reactions to Syria, it's been on an ad hoc basis. Something happens, we decide to do something. Something happens, we decide to do something. What this bill does is actually lay out a strategy to deal with Syria in a very thoughtful way. So we're dealing with the humanitarian side, the communication side, the organization side, but we're also shifting the balance. And the focus of this bill is on the day after Assad. In other words, we want the more moderate secular groups who have the ability to reach out to the Alawite and Christian populations that support Assad. We want that to occur, and we know without a strategy to make that happen, you're going to see more of the same. So this is not symbolic. What it is, it's a bill that lays out a longer-term strategy, and I'm really proud of the fact that our Foreign Relations Committee, in a very strong bipartisan way, was able to come together on a strategy like the one that's laid out in this bill.
But can I just go to your previous question, because I think that's critically important as we say to the American people why we believe these actions are necessary. What is in the national interest and security of the United States? Look, if you have a failed state in which Al-Qaeda affiliates, extremist elements like al-Nusra, you have Hezbollah, which we have determined to be a terrorist organization. You have the Iranian National Guard, all in Syria. You have the potential of a failed state, which is a launching ground for terrorist acts throughout the region and, for that fact, throughout the world. Very important to the national security interests of the United States. You have large caches of chemical weapons. If those get into the hands of those extremist groups, you have a real national security interest in terms of not having those groups have chemical weapons that can be used against our interests abroad as well as our allies. You have a destabilization of the entire region. When the King of Jordan was here, he told us that, in fact, 20% of his population has grown by 20% with refugees, and at the rates it's going, it could double. That's not something the kingdom can sustain. A major ally of the United States might very well find itself in great trouble, and that destabilizes the region. You have spillover into Lebanon, into, of course, Jordan, into Iraq. Of the crisis. That is destabilizing and against our national interests. So that's why I think this is important.